Welcome to this week's episode of Nothing But the Truth. I'm Trudy Stern, and today I'm honored to have my guest, as my guest, my very good friend, Bruce Blakeman, Nassau County Executive. As the first Republican elected to this role in nearly 20 years, Bruce has brought a bold vision to Nassau County, focusing on public safety, fiscal responsibility, strengthening our communities. We'll delve into his leadership, his approach to tackling local and national challenges, and what's next for the residents of Nassau County. Stay tuned for an enlightening conversation. Welcome to Nothing But the Truth, County Executive Blakeman.
Thank you very much, Trudy. It's an honor for me to be here.
So before we actually get to the points that I wanted to speak about, let's just talk about this very unbelievably exciting news of the hostage deal that just happened. I know that you particularly since October 7th have been incredibly helpful, and not only helpful, but you've protected the citizens of Nassau County, which is one of the largest Jewish communities in the country. And so thank you so much for that. So what is going on with the new deal? What happened?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I think that we are all relieved that there will be a deal. It looks like that Israel and Hamas have come to a completion of their initial negotiations, and that 33 hostages will be released over the next couple of weeks. Now, let me say this. No deal is perfect. And there are going to be people who are going to say that it didn't help the Israelis enough. There are going to be people who say that Netanyahu didn't do enough. I believe that when we think about what Israel did after October 7th and what they were able to accomplish, they virtually have defeated Hamas. People said they couldn't fight a two-front war. They defeated Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Syria has collapsed and Iran has been weakened. And with the election of President Trump, who said that if there wasn't a hostage deal, that there would be hell to pay, I believe President Trump was the impetus to get this deal done. I know Steve Witkoff, who is his Middle East envoy, has been traveling back and forth to the Middle East to be helpful to the Israelis to try and get a hostage deal. Now, that being said, again, there will be a lot of critics, but it's much more complicated to make peace than it is to make war. Making war, you just have to pull a trigger. Making peace is a very complicated process. And we have to think of the Israeli people. How many lives have been lost? How many young people were lost in battle? It's a small country. They've been under siege since October 7th, and they have war fatigue. They have an emotional drain, and they have a financial drain. And although, again, nobody is going to say this is a perfect deal, if Prime Minister Netanyahu blesses it, I believe that it is a deal that Israel should make at this time. And I think that with President Trump being inaugurated in less than a week, that we're going to have a president who's going to weaken Iran so they don't get nuclear capabilities that could be a threat not only to Israel, but to the United States.
Well, I very much hope that we can get as many hostages back, if not all of them, as possible. So this is wonderful, a wonderful development. So I'm going to bring us all back to Long Island. So you're really a great leader because you're a very on the pulse person. Not only do you really understand the important matters of our time, but you're one of the few politicians who also take action. You were the first person to pass into law a mask ban. You are also very active in protecting women in sports and in the bathrooms. So clearly something that is front and center in all of our minds is what's going on in LA and the lack of preparedness of the local government, from Mayor Karen Bass to Governor Newsom, who both contributed to this horrific catastrophe. This is what happens when politicians are playing politics and not caring about the people that they're governing. I'd like to hear from you. what your perspective is from someone who has been involved in local politics for so long. What are the different actions that could have been taken to minimize this horrible catastrophe?
Yeah, so Trudy, that's a really good question. And one of the things that shocked me was the fact that the mayor of Los Angeles and the governor of California actually asked the people of Los Angeles to be more patient. I don't think you can ask people to be patient when they see that their homes are being destroyed by fire. They're losing not only just monetary possessions, but possessions that they've accumulated over a lifetime, memorabilia and things concerning their family, such as family photos and family items, go up in flames, and ask them to be patient. What happened here in California is a terrible lack of leadership. They put political correctness and other issues ahead of what they should have been doing. They've been spending money on diversity, equity, and inclusion when they should have been spending the money on making sure that their water supply was there should they have an event like this. The Santa Ana winds, I used to live in Southern California. It's not something that is new. It happens every few years. They know when it's going to occur because the meteorologists are able to predict it, and they were thoroughly unprepared. They didn't have water in their fire hydrants. They didn't do the clearing of the brush and the foliage that's absolutely necessary to create a barrier so that the fire can't keep jumping forward and ruining more and more neighborhoods. So it was a lack of leadership. It was a lack of focus. It was a lack of priorities. And here in Nassau County, what we do is we have drills all the time. We have drills in the event of a blizzard. We have drills in the event of a hurricane. We have drills in the event of a terrorist attack. We have drills in the event of an active shooter. We drill, 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 because you can't be overtrained for circumstances like this. And I just think that it was a lack of strategic planning, it was a lack of execution, and it was a lack of leadership.
Well, they're saying also that, I mean, the fire department was cut by $17.7 million, and that was a tremendous reason why the fire department was not equipped to handle this.
They were spending tens of billions of dollars on illegal migrants. So spending all that money on illegal migrants who've been here for 15 minutes and giving them a credit card with $300 and giving them transportation and shelter and food and clothing and a cell phone, when they should have been using the money to protect their own people, that is a national scandal, and it's no more prevalent than in Los Angeles and the state of California, who had their priorities completely upside down.
It seems so egregious. This Mayor Bass even got emails from her DEI inserted head of the fire department saying that, you know, our abilities to respond in a catastrophe would be greatly diminished by the lowering of the budget by $17 million. Yet she persisted in what she was doing. How do you explain that? Why would somebody be so deficient?
Well, it's inexplicable other than total lack of leadership and governmental malpractice. Here in Nassau County, over the last 3 years, I've hired over 290 police officers because I realized that we have growing concerns with respect to the rise of crime, especially from illegal migrants, and that we had to be prepared to meet that challenge. And I declared that we wouldn't be a sanctuary county, even though New York State is a sanctuary state. So instead of spending taxpayer dollars on illegal migrants, we spent it on cops. We spent it on fire equipment. We spent it on emergency equipment. We spent it on training. So those are the things that we're doing here in Nassau County to make sure that we have a safer community.
Well, that is really wonderful. I know that you had a meeting just a couple of days ago with Mayor Adams about the rise in crime. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, Mayor Adams and I were supposed to get together numerous times to break bread and have dinner and talk about regional issues. And every time we were going to do that, something came up either in Nassau County that I had to attend to or something in New York City that the mayor had to attend to. So we finally got together the other night. We had a very, very pleasant dinner. We talked about issues around the region. We talked about politics. It was a very pleasant night. And you know, we have different philosophies and we have different ways of doing things. But I think it's important that we have open lines of communication because we're on the border of each other's community. And I have to say that our relationship with the NYPD is outstanding. Our Nassau County Police Department has a great relation with NYPD. We were just named by US News and World Report as the safest county in America. Nassau County is the safest county in America. So I think we're doing something right with respect to protecting the public, as well as Niche Magazine just said, we're the best place to live in New York State. So I think we're getting it right here. And we forge relationships, even though it might be with someone of the other party. I had Chuck Schumer in here just the other day in Nassau County. We were talking about spending more money on anti-terror and spending money on retraining our cops to meet the future burdens. We talked about drones and things that are of interest to each one of us. It's not about Republican or Democrat. It's about getting things done for the people. And that's what we try to do here in Nassau County.
Speak about the drones for just 1 second. Did anybody ever identify, were you ever told who was behind those drones that were all over the place, that looked like surveillance drones, possibly from another country?
Yeah, well, I can't go into details, but most of the drone sightings were either private hobbyists. In other words, they have a drone and they were putting it up, and when they heard other people were doing it, they did it as well because they wanted to get in on the action. But some of those drones might have been surveillance drones. The federal law enforcement partners we have not shared that information with us, but that might be a situation that they're looking into. We have not had that occurrence here in Nassau County. We have the most sophisticated anti-drone detection systems in the United States. What I would like to get from the federal government, they have the technology to make the drones go back to their home base immediately so they don't pose a threat. That's something that we would like. So I've called on the federal government to share that technology with large police departments around America, including the Nassau County Police Department, which is the 11th largest police department in the United States. So those are the things that we're doing with respect to drones.
That's really unbelievable that you have that we have that technology here. That's great and very encouraging to hear. And I'm also very thankful that we live in the safest county in the country. So that's very encouraging and that's great news. What do you attribute that? Do you attribute that to just luck, or do you attribute that to anything that's been done here in the county that's different than other places?
Well, first of all, I think it's leadership. And when I got into office, I said that I was going to change the tone here in Nassau County, that we were going to be very, very strong supporters of law enforcement, that we wouldn't defund the police. We were going to actually increase funding to the police. I have a county legislature that is very supportive. I have a district attorney in Annie Donnelly who gets it. She's a pro-law enforcement prosecutor. And it's the people of Nassau County and, of course, the men and women of our police department, the men and women of our sheriff's department who do such an outstanding job each and every day. It's a collaborative effort on a lot of people's part. And again, the buck stops with me. I have indicated that I will not tolerate lawlessness. I will not tolerate anti-Semitism. I will not tolerate hate crimes in Nassau County. And we've been able to keep a lid on it only because we're very, very vigilant and we've got great people who are supporting us.
And most likely also that you're able to work across the aisle because you have a lot of people on both sides of the equation, and it seems like you're able to communicate with everyone and work with everyone.
Listen, we're always going to have differences of opinion. We're always going to have disagreements, but it's important that we have a respectful discussion of our disagreements, try to come to a solution, and when there are issues where we can work together, we need to work together.
So for those listeners who are joining late, I just want to tell you that we are here with County Executive Bruce Blakeman in a very incredible discussion about all of his accomplishments and Nassau County. Bruce, I'd like to just turn my attention right back to LA for 1 second.
Sure.
While Long Island is not LA, we have our own set of problems here. We have hurricanes and storms causing blackouts, which are very dangerous for lots of reasons. What can be done about that on Long Island to prepare for that? What are you doing to prepare for these different eventualities?
Yeah, so we train for it all the time. So basically, when we have an incident such as a blizzard or a hurricane or a superstorm, we have an incident command center that's set up at the Office of Emergency Management. It is manned by people from various departments, federal, state, local. We have the FBI there. We have NYPD. We have state police. We have our firefighters. We have PSE&G. We have the other utilities that are there. We all get together and we practice and drill and train on a regular basis for what we would do in one of those events. So let's take a blackout or some kind of loss of power. What we do is we get together with all of the utilities and we discuss what preparations they've made. And usually what they do, if there is a major event that could occur, is they stage from out of state various utility companies that would assist us in a very expedited basis should there be some kind of problem like a blackout or down power lines or things of that nature. So we plan for that, we drill for it, we train for it. And the good thing is that in most circumstances, if someone loses power, it's restored within hours. It's not days because, again, we call for help ahead of time. We're not too proud to ask for help, and we're willing to pay for help from outside agencies. And we're also willing to give help. Like we sent supplies down to North Carolina in their terrible hurricane. We sent our snow removal equipment up to Erie County in the Buffalo area when they had those terrible blizzards 2 years ago. So not only do we ask for help when we have problems, we forge relationships where we give help to other communities so that when we're in a tough circumstance, they'll remember that we help them. And in most cases, they're more than happy to reciprocate because we are truly we are one country together. And it's only by working together can we lessen the load on the community when there is a major event like a fire or a hurricane or a blizzard or some kind of major event.
That's great to hear. I actually wanted to ask you that. Do you work with other county executives all over the state in discussing preparedness and discussing the issues that could face our state? So it sounds like you are doing that. Are you? Well, actually, are you?
Oh, yeah. We talk to everybody. When we had President Trump in here for a rally a few months ago, we worked with the FBI, the CIA, the Secret Service, Capitol Police, State Department Police, State Police, Suffolk County Police, and we were able to amass a tremendous amount of resources for the protection of President Trump because this was the first big rally that he had since his assassination attempts. So we have a collaborative working group that works with various agencies. We put politics aside and we get the job done. And that's the way we operate because there's no Republican way or Democrat way. There's only one way, and that's working together.
That's great to hear. Question: Why are the utility poles and why are all of the wiring on Nassau County above ground. So now we have a pretty quiet time, no storms, no blackouts of any kind. Why isn't PSENG going around replacing these antiquated looking poles that could break in a second, which they do, and putting wiring below ground? Why isn't that taking place?
That's a very good and complicated question. So I'll try to synthesize it in a short answer. So Nassau County is the first suburbs. We became the first suburb after World War II, when the men were coming back and the women were coming back from the war. And we grew in an explosive rate. Overnight, we went from a farming community to the largest suburb in the United States. And there wasn't a lot of planning that was done. And unfortunately, we're paying the price for it now. We don't have the roadways that we should have had. We don't have the right of ways that we should have had. So we are probably one of the most densely populated suburban counties in the United States. And during that time, because they were growing so fast, the easiest and fastest way to get electric power was to do it with telephone poles and telephone wires. And unfortunately, that was almost 80 years ago. And since then, there's been no great effort to try and put those wires underground, because each year it gets more costly, more costly, more costly. And basically now it would cost tens of billions of dollars to put all of our wires underground. So what we're doing is we're asking the utilities on a segmented basis that when they are doing work in an area, if it's possible to put the wires underground, put the wires underground. We can't do it all at once, but we can do it step by step and hopefully get to a situation where more of the wires are underground and not above ground, where they're more vulnerable to the elements of nature.
Yeah, I hope they actually start to do that, continue to do that. I think it would be really great. To our listeners who don't live on Nassau County, I think this is very valuable information to hear how prepared a county executive can be and how each of us can become more informed and more prepared for any sort of natural disaster or any difficulty.
Yeah,
In
true.
terms
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. People don't realize that, we're larger than 10 states in population. If we were called a city rather than a county, we'd be the seventh largest city in the United States. So we have a big population, and we always have to make sure that we do everything that's humanly possible to make sure that we're safe, secure, and that we have quality of life that people expect.
So is there a phone number that we can share with the listeners that if they are having some sort of issue related to the things that we've spoken about, they can actually call somebody and speak to some person about that issue?
Sure. So if there's an emergency, a true emergency, obviously the first number to call is 911. But if you want to speak to my office or to speak with me, 516-571-3131, or you can go online to nassaucountiny.gov. And basically, we will get back to you with any concerns that you have. And certainly communicating with the public is an important part of our job.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's a critical part of the job. In terms of knowing what issues there are out there, but I think you're very good at that. You seem to have really the pulse of the neighborhood, the community, and the county in your heart. Before we conclude, could you tell us about the Sands Casino Resort project? I've heard a lot about it. Sounds very, very interesting, very exciting. Sounds like a very big project. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, so this project, if approved by the state of New York, will bring over $3 billion in construction jobs. We're talking about thousands of construction workers. It also will bring thousands of permanent jobs. It will generate a tremendous amount of revenue for the surrounding communities. It's a economic boom to the county if we do get a license from the state of New York. And I believe we will, because I think we have the best application. We've got the best partners in Las Vegas Sands. And I believe that once it's built, it will be the highest grossing casino in the United States of America because of the demographics in this area. This is a very, very rich region. We have a lot of people here who have a lot of wealth, and that's why Las Vegas Sands wants to make the investment here. And if everything's on the up and up, I believe that we will get that license. And again, I think it'll be good for the community and it'll be good for our workers.
Well, what is your vision? Is your vision to make this another Las Vegas? What is this?
No, 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 Trudy. This would be a one-off, just one casino with a luxury hotel, a luxury spa, and either an entertainment center or a convention center. Then it would be a destination with celebrity restaurants and local restaurants for people to come. It would be an attraction.
Where will it be located?
It would be located on the site of Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale.
And what would you do about crime? Do you think this would inspire crime in that area? A lot of times when you have a casino complex, it inspires crime.
Yeah, it'll probably be the safest place in New York State because there will be over 500 or 600 private security guards there. As part of the deal, the Sands will pay for police protection. So we will be adding more police officers to the area. And again, there's a lot of money that'll change hands in that casino. And they know how to keep them safe and secure. They do a really good job of it in Las Vegas and Macau and Atlantic City and other places around the world. And we don't anticipate that there will be any crime that will be generated by the casino. If anything, it'll clean up some of the areas in the surrounding communities that might have pockets of crime and make them safer. So we have the support of the community. People are in favor of it. And we're moving forward, and I think it'll be a great project. It would be governmental malpractice not to consider such a tremendous project for our county.
Why is that? Why do you feel that way?
Well, because of the money and the jobs that would be generated. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that each year would be part of the economic activity of the county. And we're also talking about, again, thousands of construction jobs, thousands of permanent jobs, and then there'll be a multiplier effect in the surrounding community for businesses that surround the casino area. So it's something that we would be very foolish not to entertain.
Actually, in hearing about it now from you, it really makes a lot of sense to have a destination in Nassau County. If you think about all of the different communities around the country, there are so many destinations that people come to an area for. Nassau County is such a natural to have such a destination effect because it's close to the city, it's beautiful. It just seems like a natural, and it's very unbelievable that Nassau County has not had that before. You go through Nassau County to get to the Hamptons, for example. So it seems like a natural to have some reason to stop in Nassau County. And
we were the Hamptons before there was a Hamptons, and we're bringing that back. We have more and more people from the surrounding area, New York City especially, who are now buying vacation homes in Nassau County because we have beautiful beaches. We've got great restaurants, shopping, parks. We have tremendous amount of cultural activities, including museums and concerts and things of that nature. So we have become a destination. We're also very big on medical tourism because we have some of the best healthcare networks in the world. We've got NUMIC, we've got Northwell, we've got Mount Sinai, we've got NYU Langone, we've got the Catholic health system. We have some of the best healthcare facilities in the world. We've got some of the best doctors in the world. And we're finding now that people are coming to Nassau County rather than New York City because of the amenities that we have here and the beautiful communities that we have that make it so much easier for families who have to go through a medical procedure, and they love coming to Nassau County.
So I was not even aware of the new fact that we've become a medical center. That's really fantastic to hear.
Yeah, and we're marketing it.
This sadly brings us to the end of our time together. Thank you so much, Bruce. for joining us tonight on Nothing But the Truth. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Keep up your advocacy. You're one of the great residents of Nassau County. You're a true leader, and we are blessed to have someone of your stature in our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Your dedication to Nassau County and its vibrant, diverse communities, especially your steadfast support of the Jewish community, is both inspiring and impactful. Thank you for sharing your insights and for the incredible work that you're doing to keep Nassau County thriving. I hope we will have you back on the show to update us on all of your wonderful projects. We wish you much success and luck in your continuing great work. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to join us every Thursday night at 9:30 for another thought-provoking episode, night catch up on past episodes. You can find Nothing But the Truth wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, I'm Trudy Stern, and this is Nothing But the Truth. Have a great night.